Hi everyone, welcome back to listen.com.co. We're going to talk about a subject that's not only important for global security, but is also full of useful vocabulary for your English studies. How terrorists use money and how governments try to stop them. I'll break down everything step by step, as always, and I'll explain the meaning of key vocabulary, some idioms and some phrasal verbs as we go. Terrorist financing and counter-terrorism strategy. On September the 10th, 2001, a man named Mohammed Hatta visited an ATM. That's an automated teller machine, a cash machine. He was in South Portland, Maine, which is a quiet city in the northeast US. From the security footage, that's the video recording, it looked like a routine. Routine is normal or expected. It looked like a routine transaction. But this was anything but routine. I'll explain that phrase shortly. This was anything but routine. The money he took out had been transferred, meaning moved from one place to another, usually electronically. And it was transferred from a bank account linked to a high-level Al-Qaeda operative. An operative is someone who works secretly for a political or military group. The very next morning, Hatta he controlled, directed, he steered American Airlines Flight 11 into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. And this action began the 9/11 attacks, which changed global politics and security forever. When I said anything but routine, this is an idiom, and it means definitely not normal or expected. As an example, his tone was anything but friendly. So it wasn't friendly, it was aggressive. His tone was anything but friendly, anything but routine. So what actually changed after 9/11? Well, after the attacks, the US government, they made targeting terrorist finance a top priority. This means it became one of the most important goals. They made it top priority. Officials asked, could this have been stopped if we had followed the money? And they started analyzing actions like wire transfers, the electronic transfers of money, newly opened bank accounts, ATM transactions, car rentals, plane ticket purchases. And these actions, these kinds of actions, are often called financial footprints. This is the trail of money someone leaves behind. Financial footprints. So what does following the money mean? What do we mean when we say this? Well, today, following the money is a core part. It means main or central part. It's a core part of how governments fight terrorism. Why? Because terrorists need money to plan attacks, to train their members, and to spread their messages. When we say carry out, we mean to do or to complete something. For example, they carried out the attack early in the morning. By watching how money is moved, investigators can sometimes shut down, stop, or close something completely. They can shut down planned attacks before they happen. They can also figure out, they can also understand or discover They can figure out where terrorist groups are operating and how they are organized. So what did the US government do? Well, just days after 9/11, the US President George W. Bush, he signed an executive order. An executive order is a formal command issued by a president. This order was Executive Order 13224. And this order did three important things. It froze the assets of terrorist groups and individuals. To freeze here means to block access to money or property, so it can't be used. So they froze the assets. The order gave more power to the Treasury Department. This is the part of the US government that handles money. It gave more power to them to apply sanctions. A sanction is a financial or legal punishment placed on something or someone. And the order said that foreign banks outside the US, had to cooperate with American investigators. If they didn't, they wouldn't be allowed to do business in the US or use US dollars. US dollars are the main currency used in global trade. When we say money talks here, we mean that money has power or influence. For example, the banks changed their policies. Why? Because money talks. At the same time, banks were also told they had to flag suspicious transactions. This means to report anything that looked strange or possibly illegal, and to freeze accounts, to block access to money in specific bank accounts. So did these tactics work? Well, in some ways, yes, they did. These financial strategies helped prevent, stopped before happening, prevent. They helped prevent some attacks and also gave officials useful information. As an example, in 2007, an Al-Qaeda video showed a man called the group's finance chief asking for money. He said, "Funding is the mainstay of jihad." Mainstay means the main support or the most important part of something. In 2006, another example, investigators discovered a plan to blow up, to destroy with explosives. They discovered a plan to blow up planes flying from Britain to the US. They noticed that large donations were being made for earthquake relief, aid. But it turned out the money was going to the attackers. And because of this, the attack was foiled. Foiled, F-O-I-L-E-D, means prevented or stopped. The phrasal verb here is to look into something. This is to investigate or study something closely. For example, the police are looking into the suspicious transfers. Look into is to investigate. Most terrorists don't care about getting rich. They act because of their ideology. An ideology is a strong political or religious belief. They find money wherever they can, including illegal activities like drug dealing, robberies, fake charities. These are organizations that pretend to help people, but secretly fund terrorism. And of course, private donations from supporters. For example, the group Al-Qaeda used real businesses, like honey shops, to move money secretly. They were called honey shops. These shops looked innocent, but they were part of a money laundering system, a way to hide where the money really comes from. Many terrorist groups tap into existing criminal groups. Tap into means to use or connect with. So terrorist groups tapped into existing criminal groups instead of creating their own systems. Groups like ISIS and Boko Haram used human trafficking, the illegal trade of people, to earn money. And today this practice brings in more than 150 billion per year globally. An idiom here, a means to an end. This is something you do only because it helps you reach your real goal. So for terrorists, money is just a means to an end. Terrorist groups often work together. Groups like ISIS, Al-Shabaab, and Al-Qaeda have been known to work together to raise funds to collect money through activities like illegal fishing or smuggling. Smuggling is just moving goods secretly and illegally. And sanctions don't always work. In 2014, the Islamic State was worth about $2 billion. They controlled land, they ran it like a small country, taxing people, selling oil cheaply, and looting villages. This is stealing from towns they captured. They looted villages. And because they didn't use normal banks, freezing accounts didn't stop them. To really beat them, armies had to take back the land they controlled. And that's what finally cut off their money supply. Cut off just means stopped or reduced. So it's a phrasal verb, to block or stop something from continuing. They cut off the group's funding by destroying their oil wells. And terrorism doesn't have to cost much. It's been estimated that the 9/11 attacks cost nearly $500,000. But recent attacks have been much cheaper. In 2004, there were train bombings in Madrid. These bombings killed almost 200 people, and the cost was less than $50,000. The truck attack in Nice, in France, in 2016, cost even less than that. And a recent study found that most European terrorist attacks between 1994 and 2013 cost under $10,000. And this, of course, makes detection harder, because smaller transfers often go unnoticed. So what's the point of all of this? Well, no system is perfect. Financial tools can't stop every terrorist, but they do make life harder for terrorist groups. They slow them down. They help governments gather clues. A saying here, perhaps you could say, you can't stop the rain, but you can carry an umbrella. This means you can't control everything, but you can prepare for some of it. In other words, financial tools don't end terrorism, but they help manage the threat, and they do give officials more control. As for listening, if you enjoyed this, if you learned some new words or discovered something you didn't know about the world, please share, subscribe, leave a review. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning. Bye-bye for now.